Hello, hello, hello. Tonight, the topic is in the title CE5 Contact, Dr. Stephen Greer, and Consciousness. And this all brought about because you have to pay. There's an app or website, whatever, called Gaia, and you have to pay for it. All their episodes you have to pay for and stuff like that, right? Well, if you have Roku, there's an app on there that is called Tubi. Some of the things that's on Gaia included, like, oh man, unacknowledged, um, the cosmic hoax, the disclosure hold on, I'll tell you some of them real quick. But on Tubi. So I kind of, at the earlier part of this day and then last night, I kind of binged watched them because I've never seen them before. And so I binge watched them, right? And there's one that is called Contact, the CE5 Experience. One of them is Unacknowledged, and Expose of the World's Greatest Secret. And then Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Then The Cosmic Hoax. Above Top Secret, the Technology Behind Disclosure. And then Disclosure with Dr. Stephen Greer. And, so I binge watched them. And just listening to it, it's amazing how in the connectedness of everything, and this is where something that kind of is in my mind sometimes that I kind of question. Quantum entanglement, everything is connected. Dr. Greer does CE5 contacts and even talks about being consciously on spacecraft and talking to extraterrestrials. He does CE5 meditation contacts where they meditate and say certain prayers, and they have extraterrestrials arrive physically and in consciousness form. You can look all this up. It's on these videos. It's in these videos. Extraterrestrials, aliens, spacecraft. It's on those videos I just named. But sometimes I wonder about something. Because when I had my experience, I was trying to get a hold of people. Now, there's a few things that, while watching it, there's people like George Knapp, and they call them the five horsemen or whatever. They have bits and parts of information, and then they leak. They say the extraterrestrials are a threat, right? And then from everything that I've heard Dr. Stephen Greer talk about, is that extraterrestrials are not a threat. Okay, so you got one people saying that they are a threat to national security, and they're a threat to the government, and they're a threat to the world, and a threat to people because they've buzzed military, they've been to military bases and stuff like that. And that's where the left side comes in. And then you have the right side that say they are completely friendly, they have healed people, they've helped people, and this, that, and the third. Okay. So, what I want to say about this is, and it turns out that Dr. Stephen Greer, I can't remember exactly how it went, but when he was 17, he had an NDE, a near-death experience. And That's what brought all this about. When he was like around 9, I think he said that he seen an extraterrestrial craft. And then when he was 17 or whatever, he had his near-death experience. And that's what triggered the disclosure event. And it really blew out in the open in 2001. Okay, look, you have a left group that says extraterrestrials are violent and hostile, and you have a right group that says extraterrestrials are non-violent and not hostile but friendly. I have yet to hear the left side say it is possible that they could be friendly, and I have yet heard the right side say that they could be hostile. This is my problem. Or not my problem, but this is just my opinion, my input. Through quantum entanglement. Just that's why I was so fascinated with it, and I did binge watch it. Because if you do watch them, Dr. Stephen Greer says a lot of the same things worded different that I've been talking about in my videos, and that come to me. Because everything is connected one through consciousness. Okay. Now I'm actually going to try. I actually tried a CE5 contact in my front yard last night, and I had it looked like the shape of a boomerang, but it didn't have any lights. But it looked like a shadow, like a boomerang shape, but it was a shadow. It was, you could see through it. But it flew right over the top of me. It didn't make no noise. It didn't leave a trail, but it just flew right over me. Now, that was pretty amazing. Okay, that was pretty amazing. On the other hand, there are friendly extraterrestrials, as Dr. Stephen Greer would say. There is a lot of species that are friendly. And as this other group would say, there are other ones out there. Picture this possible for a moment. The same way as humans. Humans have the capability of being both good and bad. Hello. It hasn't been on very long. Human beings have both the capability of being both good and bad. We have a choice to make. If we want to be good, we lead a good life. We're usually good. If you want to go out there and do bad things in life, you go out there and do bad things. So what I'm getting at with the extraterrestrials, and people might say that they are more evolved, more evolved. Yes, they are. But just because something is more evolved than what we are, is it really that hard to fathom that there can still be in the same species, say you're talking about one species of extraterrestrial, is it really that hard to believe that one of them could choose to do bad things and one of them could choose to do good things? Is it really that hard to believe? That I see where both sides are coming from. One is saying that they're a national security threat and that they're hostile. They have yet to actually do anything hostile besides shut down nuclear weapons. And there is man-made UFOs. I'm a firm believer in that. When it comes to Bob Lazar, look at what he was talking about in the 80s, that he was at S4 or S7 base where they was reverse engineering anti-gravity propulsion engines for the government. And that, it was very top secret. And I mean, he knew about element 118 way back in the 80s. And it wasn't technically discovered and put on our periodic table till like 2014 or some crap like that. But he knew about it in the 1980s. There's a lot of stuff that has been kept from the general public, even if you are a high rank in the government, military, it doesn't matter. You have There's some stuff that's on a strictly need to know basis. And if you don't need to know, then you're not going to know. The president don't. That's why I don't vote. That's why I have nothing to do with politics. Why? Because the president, to me, is a puppet. They're just a show of face. They talk. Some of them have talked a lot of game and actually do things, but at the end of the day, everything that gets done has to go through somebody else, anyways. They're just a puppet. There's other people in the background that still make rules and that talk in their ear and tell them what to say and give them the script to read. Even the ones that have, like Trump, even the ones that have been, I'm going to do what I say and stuff like that. You don't think that there has been some point in time that somebody has set him down and secretly and told him, if you do try to do certain things, bad things will happen. I mean, look at all the people who have been high-ranking military government officials and that have died or come up missing. I mean, it's happened for a long, long time. People have mysteriously died, natural causes, or just disappeared, never to be heard of again. High-ranking. It's not like some hobo who, was smoking crack and nobody knew him, or a prostitute that got murdered and buried in somebody's backyard. No, these were high-ranking people that a lot of people knew about, and they just disappeared, and then nobody ever talked about them. Why do people trust that? I would not trust someone like that. You mean to tell me that you can make thousands of people disappear? You can make trillions of dollars disappear in these deep black projects, and that nobody knows where this money went, and it's funding these projects, secret government projects, or they've been paid for with private investors. Because Dr. Greer was saying, if the government paid for it, then it would be funded by taxpayers. So then you could FOIA request it. Well, if it was paid for by private investors, that's private. You can't do a FOIA request on it. So there, you won't know. But trillions of dollars come up missing and have no idea of your money, taxpayers' money. Trillions of dollars come up missing. And people still trust them. People still want to vote for them. That's why I don't vote. Now, am I telling everybody to stop voting and riot against your government? I'm not going to say that on here. I'm not going to say that. I want everybody to make up their own mind. If you still like that type of stuff, if you think that's what people need, which in a sense we do. I'm not saying all law should just dissolve, but I'm saying it should be completely restructured. It should be completely restructured, and you have to start from the ground up. You can't start from up and work your way down. You have to start from the ground level and go up. You have to make sure who you got down first is trustworthy. And so far, nobody that I've seen has been trustworthy. I mean, how can you trust somebody that don't even know all the details? You can't trust somebody that doesn't know everything. You can't trust them. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. But anyways, let me go ahead and remember, if anybody would like to donate, please donate. Democracy requires participation of the people. Yeah, it does. It does for sure. Let me go ahead and read the prayer, because that's how I want to start these videos out, with a prayer. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like the video, and share. The most important thing is share it. So, why do nations conspire and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers gather together against the Lord. and against his anointed one. Let us break their chains. They say, and they throw off their feeders. The one enthroned in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. Then he rebukes them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath, saying, I have installed my king on Zion, my holy hill. I will proclaim the declare of the Lord. He said to me, You are my son. Today I have become your father. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, the ends of the earth your possessions. You will rule them with an iron scepter. You will dash them to pieces like pottery. Therefore, you kings, be wise. Be warned, you rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son. Let he be angry and you be destroyed in your way, for his wrath can flare up in a moment. Blessed are all who take refuge in him. That's just funny that Psalms 2 is, because I read Psalms 1 and I was just going to go down the list. It's kind of funny that Psalms 2 is almost talking about what I'm talking about. And by the way, I did figure out how to redo GoFundMe. Like I say, I had bad luck with them before, but I figured I would just try it again. So I created 2 different ones. If anybody's interested, remember, share the video because it helps me get it out too. And I'll go ahead and show them real quick. The first one I have is helping my mom. And so no donations yet, but it's hello everyone. I'm creating this GoFundMe to help my mom out. She works very hard for what little she has. Maybe this will help her have a little easier time with life. Thank you. I love you. As always, God bless you. And then I have my other one, desperate need of house repair, because we live in you could tell by the wood grain on the wall. It's a 70s trailer. It's very old and it needs a lot of work. And this one is hello everyone. This is my mom's house. It's a trailer house from the 70s. We both work, but with bills, we just don't have the money to fix the issues with this old trailer. If you can afford anything to help, we would be in your debt. Thank you, and as always, God bless you. So I figured I'd just try it again. But I wanted to get on a few different topics, including the CE5 contact. And what else was it? Oh, crap. Hold on. I grabbed the wrong book. I'm sorry. Hold on. All right. You know, dog, I'm going to turn this light back on. Okay. So where was it? Because, yeah, I think I've showed this before where I've wrote down different topics that I wanted to do on this channel. You know, Skinwalker Ranch, curses, shapeshifters, UAPs, and portals. That was another one. UAPs, which is, you know, it used to be UFOs, and then they changed it to UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. And I think I know why that is, or I have my own opinion about it, because UFOs, unidentified flying object. Well, they figured out that these things are not flying. They don't fly like how our conventional aircraft flies. They don't operate like that. That's why they're unidentified aerial phenomenon, because they know that they're not flying. It's a different type of propulsion that they use. And it's like Stephen Greer says, something that has evolved more than we are has better connection with consciousness. What I've been saying is that you can create your reality. Well, there is some species out there that this is very hard for us to do, which when I talk about manifesting something out of thin air, you know, but I dug deep into that manifesting, like being able to sit here and have nothing here and physically manifest something that I can touch, just creating it. I dug deep into that one night to figure out how I could. And I believe it is possible to do that. But it is very, very difficult because, take for instance, this piece of paper. This piece of paper has ink in it that vibrates on a certain scale. The color of the ink vibrates on its own scale. The paper itself has all different type of fabrics in it that all vibrate in frequency on their own. To manifest it, you would have to know each individual vibration and frequency and somehow combine them to create something manifested into reality. And that's very hard to do. It's very hard to do that because you can't just think, I'm going to manifest a Sharpie and the Sharpie manifest. You have to think of everything that it's made of, everything that it pertains to it, the ink, the plastic, all the chemicals that's in the plastic, all the chemicals that's in the ink, the color of it, even the shape of it, and everything vibrates. It has its own frequency, vibration, and energy. You have to be able to channel every single thing at the same time to combine it. Sometimes I feel like I'm crazy. I really do. And I'm just, it gets to me sometimes because I see all of you and I want to help so bad. And I'm doing all that I can, but I want to do more. I feel like all the time, I feel like I should be doing more. There's more that I should be doing. I can do more. But I'm looking around and I don't have anything. I don't have anything besides being here and talking. That's really all I have. But, that gets to me sometimes. But at the same time, I try to change that because something that Dr. Stephen Greer talks about when it comes to consciousness and that I've talked about, if you put out negative energy comes back to you. If you put out positive energy comes back to you. But it's just hard to do. It's hard to do here because look around. Look at everything that is going on in the world. Look at the state that our people are in. It is hard to be positive all the time. It is very hard. But I'm trying. I'm trying my hardest. I'm trying my best. I'm doing my best. And sometimes, matter of fact, I had somebody that is really religious. They told me one time, I've been suicidal for a long time. Not anymore. But they told me that if I committed suicide, that I was going to go to hell. And for a long time, I believed that. Well, after my experience, I don't believe that at all. I believe the opposite, actually. But I also believe it's what you create, too, in a sense. It's weird how quantum works. It's almost impossible to understand this as a human. Like how our brains work, we're not quite evolved to understand it. That's why I can't understand some of these things sometimes. That's why I can't even describe them, because I don't understand it myself. But at the same time, I know it's not for me to understand yet. That's the only reason I do. But then why is it coming to me? I just don't understand. Why are you showing me this if I don't understand it? What's the point? But I don't question God. I don't question God. I just want to understand more. That's all it is. I want to understand better. And because I believe we can. Like Stephen Greer says, through quantum, nothing is separate. Everything is connected. If everything is connected, right? Past, present, and future, then there is a way to understand it. My problem that I have is I get in my own way. I get in my own way. And I know this. I know that I get in my own way because I try to force it sometimes. And that's what I've said. If I just leave the question alone, I eventually get the answer when I'm ready. But okay, here's where I get in my own way and where I conflict with that. I'm experiencing time here. But outside this form, time does not exist. So why do I have to go through time and wait for the answer? Why can't I have it right now? But I understand that sometimes you just can't know things yet. If you're not in the right state of mind, that's where, like I was talking about with Stephen Greer saying that all extraterrestrials are good. And then these 5 horsemen, or whatever they're called, say that extraterrestrials are a threat. Well, I know both of them. I know there are very good ones that don't wish nothing but good things for us. But then I've also know ones that are hostile. They are hostile. They do not wish you anything good at all. So that's where I kind of conflict with both of them. Is I see where you're coming from. But if it's consciousness can project itself in any way, shape, or form. It can come to you in any way. A light orb, a craft, an extraterrestrial. It can take the form of anything that it projected itself in consciousness. So can it be possible that it is projecting itself to be a wolf in sheep's clothing? Could that be possible to steer you in its own direction, to plant that seed so you water that seed, so then when you feed it to everybody, you keep them in fear? Because that is how people have been controlled here on Earth so far. Is the main factor that has always been through human history is war. Well, how do they start these wars? How do they fund them and stuff like that? They put out something that keeps everybody in fear from whoever. That way, when they speak of war, the people that are in fear will be backing the people that want to go to war with them, so they can sort of get their courage back. You shouldn't be putting people in fear to try to get something from them. If anything, try to change their mind. Try to talk to them. Because I'm a firm believer in everybody can have their mind changed. Anybody can change their mind. It's their mind. They can change it. I mean, let alone, it might not be nothing you say that can change their mind. It's going to be on them. But you'll never know unless you plant the seed. Churches are going to have to explain how Jesus is God if he's an earth being. And that's what my biggest problem when it comes to certain religions. And you know what? Speaking of, so I was on Facebook, right? So I created my own group. on Facebook, my own group page called Side by Side, where everyone's welcome. Because I was trying to find different religious groups to join. And I looked up ones about God, and it wasn't too many. And then when you do find them, they ask you specific questions, no hating and stuff like that, which I understand that. That's completely understandable. But then when I would be on these groups and try to post something that would be about God, it would be about God, but maybe just a little different narrative. It would get deleted, or I would violate their guidelines and rules because I didn't stay on their topic, which I understand that. But then there is a ton of group pages about Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is Lord. Jesus Christ is God. I'm really curious to how many of them read these books from front cover to back cover. I'm really curious. To how many people that go to church or religious have picked these books up and read them from front cover to back cover. And if so, do you know about the book that you're reading? Because everybody will say that this book is holy. This book is the master key, right? Well, okay. Take the King James Bible, for example. Published in 1611. 66 books. Do you know who published it? Who because that book, the King James Bible, was copied from earlier texts, earlier Bibles. Also so much contradictory stuff about an unconditionally loving God who created a hell. Yes, and see, that's what I've been trying to tell people, that God created everything, but in the sense that it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain sometimes. God created everything, so everything is already there in creation. But depending on your journey in life, you create what happens to you. If you create it, you create what happens to you. So when people die and they say that they're going to go to heaven, you'll go to heaven if you create going to heaven. You'll go to hell if you create going to hell. There are just certain things that some people are not going to learn until they die, or have a near-death experience or an out-of-body experience. There's just some things that people can't believe, But like I was saying about this Bible, published in 1611, copied from earlier Bibles. There's 66 books in the King James Bible. There was Bibles before that, like the Geneva Bible, the Wycliffe Bible, the Ethiopian Bible. The Ethiopian Bible is almost 800 years older than the King James Bible, if not more than 800 years older. And it has whether close to 220 or over 220 books in it, including the books of Enoch, and a lot of other books that have been kept out of these Bibles. These Bibles have been worded different. From what I understood, they were put into this text to try to help the king, to try to help the kings of the time, to try to help the churches, to keep people coming in to the churches and listening to their word and pretty much obeying the churches and obeying the kings. That's pretty much what I found out that these Bibles were kind of used for. Why do I read from them? Because they still derive from original holy words. That's why I did do so much research into the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Emerald Tablets, And I do look at Buddhism and Hinduism and different things that different cultures were in all over the planet. I have the Quran. I have the books of Enoch. I have a certain copy of the Ethiopian Bible, but it's only 20 books in it. It's the 20 that is not in their Protestant canon, in the Ethiopian Protestant canon Bible. But I have all these other books, and then it's kind of hard to follow this book for me through and through, from front cover to back cover. But even if you do read it from front cover to back cover, the things that it talks about in this Bible, for someone that has never had a near-death experience and don't know too much, haven't questioned these things, and hasn't searched and done the research for themselves, they take it at just pages with words and they follow it. But me, myself, I am a seeker of wisdom. I want to know. I want to know everything and everything. I want to know it. Because if I'm going to follow something, I don't want to follow the wrong thing. I want to follow the right thing. And that's why I say that I don't follow religion. I don't follow man. I follow God. Whatever God puts for me, tells me, that's what I listen to. That's why I don't vote. I have never voted. I never will. Because I believe every individual person has the same power that is talked about in these books. Every person has that power. Like I said in my last video, and it's even in the Bible. God created everything in existence. Okay, so in the quantum of things, everything is connected. So if God created everything that ever was, is, and will be, that means God is in everything. He's in me. He's in you. He's in everything. I speak English, not so very good, but I speak English. Whatever language you speak, God speaks. I speak English, so I hear English. That's what God speaks. He speaks English to me. But like I've said in my other videos, God comes to you in a way that would make you comfortable and feel comfortable with him. So if you are to see Jesus, he comes to you as Jesus. If you are to see what I seen, you see what I see. If you are to see Buddha, you see Buddha. God is all. He is all, everything. There is nothing separate, and nothing is separate. I might view myself right now as a separate individual, then this laptop separate, and then you watching it as separate. But in the quantum of things, me here, this computer, and you watching it, we're entangled. We are connected together. It even talks about it in the Bible. It even actually talks about near-death experiences in the Bible, in the King James Bible. They are not necessarily named that, but it even talks about near-death experiences in the Bible. This video was supposed to be different than what it is. Love is the best basis of truth. Retribution is restrictive. If it's loving, it's God-based. If it's punishing, it's from darkness. That's what I said in my last video. When I left my body and I merged with that light that was the same color as my soul, that warm white light with the thin, warm golden light around it that I called my halo, that light that I merged with in space was the same color. And when I merged with it, it was true love. It was the warmest, strongest, most powerful love that I can't even describe it. I can't even describe it. It's like I said in my last video, if it was cocaine, it would be enough a speck would be enough to overdose all of creation. That's how strong and powerful it was. Now, In that sense, if God did create everything that ever was, is, and will be, where did the bad things come from? Did God create them? I believe He did. I believe He did. But because we have free will, He created us with free will. I believe the reason that there are good things and bad things is because we are supposed to use our free will and to choose our destiny if we want to live in the good or live in the bad. And that's just what I believe. I believe that we choose it. We choose what we want to do. We create what we want to have. We create how we want to live. So if you want to live a good, righteous path following God, you will live a good, righteous path following God. If you want to do bad things, whether you believe it or not, you do bad things. People have that happen, but then sometimes it's for the experience. And the whole reason, like I've said about the experience itself, is the experience is that of itself. It is the experience because that's how you learn and grow. Like I said in my last video, I believe that we will experience all of creation. I'm a true believer in that. We know what good is, but many choose bad because it's tempting. Oh yeah, it's very tempting, and that's what I've said. And I think one of my other videos is that missed a message. I don't even know you. I'll get back with you. That's what I said at my last video. Or I've been studying magic. I've been studying demonology just as much as I study the Bible, because I look at it like this. If there's good aliens and bad aliens, there's good angels and demons. Okay, if there's God and Satan, that's what I believe. Okay, so if I'm going to study the righteous path, because that's what I want to follow, but I am also going to study the wrong path. Why? Because I want to know what it looks like. I want to know what it smells like, what it tastes like, what it feels like. That way, if I ever come in contact with it, I know what it is and what to stay away from. But I know what it is. You know what I mean? That's why I do study demonology, because I want to know it, because I want to know all. If God created all, then I want to know all, because that's part of my growth. That's who I am. That's how I'm going to grow and evolve. I have to know these things. I have to know them. Why? Because if I have never experienced it here, then I need the experience to move from it. I need to learn it so I can grow from it. So that's why I study demonology. And when I study magic, the stuff that I have learned is a demon will give you what you want. They will give you what you want. You know why they do that? Because what they get from you. Everything is a give and take, so to speak. You know what I mean? God wants you to follow Him, but He created you with free will, so He won't intervene. It's up to you to make that decision to follow Him. So when you make that decision to follow Him, what does He get in return? What do you both get? Well, you get to follow God and live in this righteous path and be connected to God, and then your soul becomes a part of God. God becomes a part of you. So what is when these demons give you things? What do they get in return? They get your soul. They get your soul. Now, it's never permanent. It's never permanent, because you always will have a choice from free will. You never die. So if you never die, you always have a choice to snap out of it. Use free will to get back in the righteous. Islam says demons are called jinns. Angels are made of light. Humans are made of lesser light, carbon-based, and jinn and lower light, like fire. In a way, sense, yes, and that is correct, because when I study Hinduism, for instance, they talk about positive and negative entities. angels and demons. And when you look at vibration, frequency of emotional vibration, the one with the highest vibration, the highest frequency, and the brightest color is love, peace, and joy, things like that. Love, true love, is the highest vibration. Then when you get into fear, anger, hatred, those are very low vibration. Those are very low. And that's what we are. Our soul is light. It is light. But depends on what you put out, depends on how bright you shine. So in a sense, if you are in physical, you shine on the inside. But these other beings that have evolved past where we are, maybe millions of years ahead of where we are, they can project consciousness. So when people see a darker colored, it's possible that it could be a low frequency entity, which means it's a bad entity. If you see a light being, more than likely it's one that is spiritual and a peaceful love, joy. Yes, we become what we call to ourselves. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That's what like I said in the last video. You become what you call to yourself. So if you call God to yourself, could it be possible that God will live in you and through you? And in a sense, you will be just as God is. He is in everything. So if he's in you, it's not like, and don't get me wrong, because I've had people say that, how are you going to call yourself God? I'm not calling myself God. I'm saying that God is always here. He is a part of you and you are a part of him. You're never separate. So you are you and you are God. God is God and God is you. You're entangled together. But you have to make that choice out of your free will, what you want to do, what you want to follow. But this CE5, I wanted to talk about this CE5 contact, because that craft that I seen last night, I wish I would have recorded it, because I had goose pimples when it flew over. I didn't want to believe it. But it's kind of hard not to believe what I seen with my own two eyes. And it's pretty cool. But I want to dig into the CE5 more and actually try it, like remote viewing. I've been wanting to practice remote viewing. Yes, entanglement can come if we focus on love and goodness, but Earth is very hard to be all light. Oh man, it is, because of all what it boils down to is, like I said, Nikola Tesla, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. So constantly all around us, we are getting hit by all different high and low vibrations. We are getting hit by it. And if you are not fully focused on what energy and vibration that is coming to you and what you're choosing to project out, it's possible that you can get hit with the low vibration and project the low vibration. It's possible. That's the whole reason you got people that do dumb stuff, like I always did. I always did this dumb stuff. I'm trying to do a lot better these days. Like I said, I'm sober. Besides cigarettes, I don't drink. I don't think nothing's wrong with drinking. I don't think nothing's wrong with drugs, period. But me, myself, I don't do drugs. I don't take pills no more. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink alcohol. Nothing. Besides cigarettes and Dr. Peppers, that's all that I do. And I got to change my diet because, what was it, yesterday? No, day before yesterday. I was told that I need to change my diet because if I am going to live this life that I want to create for myself, that's one of the main things that I have to start doing, is taking better care of my mouth and treating my body better, because your body is your temple. This is home right here. And if you don't take care of it, if you put dirty gas in your gas tank, your car ain't going to run right. Now, I believe in a whole mess of things, including some of the things that's in the Bible. If you have your back turned and somebody pours poison in your cup, and you turn around and you take a drink of your cup, but you believe in God, the poison is not supposed to affect you. But if you sit there and know that you're taking poison, what also says, don't be stupid. God don't want you to be dumb and ignorant. Don't sit there and just put poison in your body, or he's not gonna save you. Drinking and drugs pulls dark forces in. Smoking is not good either. I just, for some it's not, but I also believe it is what you create, because I know when it comes to psilocybin, if I'm saying that right, to send mushrooms, I really want, there's a retreat in Hawaii that does like DMT, but they do a mushroom, psilocybin, however you say it. It's in mushrooms, a chemical that's in mushrooms. But they have a retreat in Hawaii. The whole, man, if I could ever go there, I would really want to try it. And I've had opportunities to take that drug. But when it comes to something like that, I've done mushrooms before, but microdosing. And, not hallucinated, but everything was more vivid. And I've seen a lot of violet colors, a lot of purples, and stuff like that. And it makes you real happy. I mean, I know the side effects. You get to where you feel nauseous, and then you get the laughters, and then when you start yawning, the mushrooms are wearing off, or you've peaked. That's what it is. You peaked when you start yawning and stuff. I've microdosed a few times, no more than like 3 or 4 grams. And yeah, mushroom therapy, because, man, it is everything that I've watched and heard, and what's in my mind and in my heart. I believe that could, in a way, help me physically. I believe that could help me physically, and I would love to go, but somehow I'll come up with the money one day, if it is for me. If it's not, I'm maybe not here, maybe in another life. I don't know. But I've had an opportunity, like I say, to do them, but I want people that's done it before. I don't want to take it and then be in my damn room, and if I start to have a bad trip, I want somebody to be there to help guide me through it, because I ain't never done it before. Ram Dass, spiritual teacher, talks about LSD giving enlightened gurus had zero effect because they were so advanced. You just that's what I'm saying. I don't believe the drug is bad. That's what I've said on the last video. The drug itself is not bad. It's where you take it, what you create. That drug can help you or hinder you. It's all how you let it. See, when I was using, it was supposedly ecstasy, but and then it was mostly methamphetamines. I'm pretty sure there wasn't any MDMA in it. And then I started taking these. They look like Adderall, but they were pressed. They weren't from a pharmacy. They were made in somebody's basement or in the super lab. I don't know. But they were supposed to be Adderall and ecstasy mixed and pressed, but they looked like an Adderall. But I'm pretty positive there wasn't no MDMA in it. I'm pretty sure it was just methamphetamines, or mainly methamphetamines, which they helped me and hindered me, because I would get dependent to them. That was my downfall with them, is I was getting so dependent that I couldn't do anything else. But as far as being more, I felt like they opened me more. But now, don't get that wrong. When I say they opened me more, they did open me more, but to any influence, not just good. There was also negative influence that I felt constantly. I think you won't get much out of mushrooms because you've already had an NDE. I don't know. See, that's my whole thing. And I've thought about that because, and I actually reached out to Jeff Mara today because I wanted to go back on his podcast again because since I've done my last podcast with them, a lot has changed since then. Or not changed, but I was talking to my dad last night. And I'm constantly, or not constantly, but I'll rewatch all my videos and I'll look back at my writings and everything to see if anything that I have said in future videos before I went back and read anything or watched anything, if they have changed in any kind of way. And it's not necessary, they don't necessarily change, but they get more and more detailed as I go along. And that's the whole thing that I've noticed about when I did Jeff Mara's podcast the first time. It was still fresh for me. It was still fresh, and I had way more questions than I had answers. Well, since then, I have known that I'm a channel. That's what I am. I'm a channeler. I can channel. And I also know that that first life that I became conscious in was that dinosaur. That was the first life that I became consciously aware that I exist and I am alive, and became consciously aware of God. Believe it or not, even animals have knowledge of God. I'm a firm believer in that. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever said that. I don't know if that's ever been proven, but I am a firm believer that even animals, even insects and everything, when they become conscious that they can become conscious that they are alive and exist, they can become aware of God. I'm a firm believer in that. And I might get, somebody might put me in a mental institution one day for some of the things I say, because there's a lot that I have said already and even wrote that I've never heard anyone say. Now, has somebody said it before? Probably. I just haven't read it yet. I haven't found it yet. But there's a lot of things that I'm saying. Like I say, I've never watched anybody's podcast besides bits and pieces of things. All these books I've only read bits and pieces of them. Everything that I speak about or everything that I say, whether happened during my experience or has been channeled through me since my experience. God allows me to have it. It's just downloaded into me. That's all that I can say. It's like updating your computer, and you hit update button and then it updates. That's how it feels. It feels like, not the data that's up here is obsolete, but it needs a refresh course or something like that. If you meditate, you'll probably get that state of. I have never meditated. I want to, because but I don't know. That's CE5 contact. What? CE5 contact. That's how they. What? CE5 contact, Dr. Stephen Greer. That's what they do. How they, and I don't know, apparently it's some hours sometimes, but they meditate to get to a certain level of consciousness to raise their vibration, and that's how they attract these ETs and crafts. Dr. Stephen Greer said that he was meditating one time, and that consciously he felt a force, and he left his body and went to a spacecraft with extraterrestrials on it and started to communicate with them. And that's how he said the extraterrestrials were very curious about we people as humans and the state of consciousness, our consciousness level. They were very curious about us. And he said with this extraterrestrials is how they came up. He said we both came up with the rules for the CE5 contact. With the extraterrestrials is how he came up with the CE5 contact, and how he all starts it is meditation. But I haven't found, all this stuff costs money. Like there's an app. CE5 contact app that's $9.99. And man, if I would have had the freaking $10, because I looked at it last night, if I would have had the $10, I would have tried to buy it. But because it does the whole, it tells you everything that you need, the meditations, the to get you a chair, be calm, away from people, a red light or a laser or something, and you get out there and do these meditations and listen to certain sounds and stuff like that, and you're able to, if they're willing, you can contact them. I tried remote viewing and it worked with a lot of effort. And see, I've been wanting to try remote viewing because it's weird how my freaking mind works. Like, I see images all the time. But when it comes to the images in my mind, some of the stuff that I see is not here on this earth, in this reality, in this dimension. It's not here. So I have to distinguish where it's coming from, what reality, what dimension is it in. But at the same time, I'm focusing on the wrong thing. I need to try to focus on what's here, because right now this here is what matters. These other ones should not matter. So why am I getting images from them? Yeah, and I don't get that. But at the same time, maybe I think just like that is how it comes. The whole reason that I get the images from these other ones is because there is something there in that reality, that dimension, that I can use, incorporate here. Just like that. That's how it came to me. That's why that I see them. Because there's something about the image that I'm seeing, the clip that I'm seeing, that is supposed to help me here. But there's some of them that is not necessarily understandable yet. It's but I can in consciousness. If I meditate and think about it and clear my mind, release the question, I can get the answer. Like remote viewing. I found out about third eye spies. Like I say, I've done all this research. Everything that I've been diving into has only came about within the past, since I've had my near-death experience. I've never heard of any of this before. So I have been... It's amazing, though, because when I actually think about it, I have done a lot of research, but I've had a lot of free time. You know what I mean? Not free time, but to spend time with my family or work or things that I thought was, hindering me. But there's actually a lot of information that I've gotten and researched since then. And, it's been going on 3 years. I think it was March 2021 is when I had my experience, if I'm not mistaken. I remember it was still cold. But see, my mom knows, she told me about remote viewing, and that's when I started to look into it. And a lot of these things, like remote viewing, if I was to ask questions about it and dig deep into it, then I could get a little bit more information on it. But I haven't been doing anything with it, But remote viewing, yeah, I've been wanting to look into that. And actually, me and my mom was going to try an experiment with remote viewing. But yeah, the CE5 and the meditations, I've been looking up meditations, and I can't find none that feel right. I mean, my stomach's bubbling. But it has to feel right. Everything for me has to feel right. If it don't feel right, then, I don't follow it. If it feels right, if it feels good and feels right, then I do my research into it. And that's the whole reason. What are you doing following demonology? You mean demonology feels right to you? It's not that I'm going to sit there and try to summon or channel demons. It's that, how would you ever know the wolf that was coming up on the herd of sheep was bad if you never knew that the wolf ate the sheep? How would you never know that it wasn't just some random animal coming up there wanting to check them out? How would you know it was bad if you didn't know that it did bad things? That's the whole reason that I study what I study, is because if it is that way, I want to know what it looks like. I want to know what it feels like. That way, when I encounter it, I know what it is. I know what it is and how to move away from it, get rid of it. Dr. Brian Wees here on YouTube. I'll check them out. I'll check them out. I'll have to go back through the live eventually and look it up. Is it meditations? Does he do meditations? Because like I say, I haven't. When I try to look up meditations similar to Stephen Greer, I can't. He changed my life. Yeah, okay, I'll look him up for sure. Like I said, I probably have ran across it before, but as you know, there's just so many diversity with everything that unless you know it, it's kind of hard to get into it. Past life regression. And see, that's the whole thing that I'm actually helping. It's a friend of mine. He has cerebral palsy, and man, I swear, this dog. Ugh. He has cerebral palsy, and he's my brother. But we lived next door to him in Mesquite. And the first time I met him, I'm out here smoking a blunt out front of my house. And the neighborhood kids are across the street from him playing basketball. And he has an electric wheelchair. And he's just sitting in the middle of his yard. And he would look up at him and he would watch him play basketball. And then he would look down at his legs. And then he would watch him play basketball. And then he'd look back down. And something just snapped in me. Go over there and introduce yourself to him and bring him over here and hang out with him. So I went over there, introduced myself to him, and I said, come over here and get high with me, smoke a blunt with me. And the rest is history from there. And we've been friends ever since then. And I haven't been able to see him for a while because my car issues and my financial struggles. Haven't been able to see him. I really want to, but, it is what it is right now. But anyways, I forgot where I was going. Oh, past life regression. His aunt, I'm talking to her, and her family in Mexico had dealings in like witchcraft. Well, when I did my interview with MUFON, I did a phone interview with them about the beings that I've seen and some of the craft that I've seen in the sky. She said when I interviewed with MUFON, I talked to a what are they called? The psychic. I talked to a psychic, and she told me about her experience and everything like that, and what got her interested in it, and how she came to work for MUFON. But she said that she would have 4 entities visit her. There was 3 male that felt like a male presence and 1 female. And she said when they would first visit her, they were like in lab coats. And they looked human, but not human. And she said the first time that they came to her, she was scared and told them to leave. But then they came back, and they would always invite her to come with them. And she eventually went with them. And she said they brought me on a white craft. It was a white craft in a white room, and they put me on a table, and they had tools. And she said that the tools that they were using looked like normal tools that we have here, human doctor tools. And she said after a few times of taking me on this craft, they showed their true form of what they really looked like, and they weren't human. They were like gray aliens, only very tall and skinny, which I know that species. I haven't actually seen them personally, but I've know that species of grays because I've seen the little short ones. But there's several different versions of little grays. And she said that they eventually showed her their true form, and when they did, everything changed. Like the inside of that craft, her view of it changed. The tools that they were using changed. And I said, well, what were they doing? Did they ever tell you what they were doing to you? And this is how I've been working with my friend, my brother's aunt, trying to help her, because she has one past life that she has to move forward. And it was a slave that was hanging, and it never spoke to her, but she's always seen it. And it was a slave hanging, and that was a past life. That's one of her past lives. It was so traumatic to her that she never made peace with that death. She has to make peace with that death and move on. But this psychic, she told me that what they were doing when they would take her on this craft, they were tuning her and raising her vibration, because this is how I explained it. Say we're all a light bulb, right? We're all a light bulb. Well, until you reach a certain vibration or consciousness, your light bulb is always off. It's always off. So all the things around you are not even aware that you're there, because your light bulb is off. Well, once your vibration, your energy level starts to rise, your light bulb starts to blink, and still things are not really focusing on you. So what they were doing, they were taking her blinking light bulb and making her light bulb stay on by raising her frequency and her vibration. That's what they do, is they try to help. There are species out there that try to help, that want the best for us. And that's the whole reason that some people with near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences have came back here and said that there are things out there that want to help us, that want to raise our vibration, raise our frequency, to help change this world and help the world and help people evolve. That's the whole point of life, is to progress. To progress and evolve. You don't keep repeating and repeating and repeating. You evolve, you grow bigger, stronger, and better. That's what we're supposed to do anyways. But here on earth, as humans, it's hard, and we've gotten influenced by negative things, and we've kept coming back as human, because both ears are ringing. And I felt pressure. I haven't really found out what that is yet. But yeah, I'm trying to help her, and I don't talk to as much people as I should, because there's certain things that I have to ask, and at the same time I actually need to meditate and focus more, because I know that there's a whole lot more that I can have access to if I would clear my busyness. If I would calm the bees down, if I would blow some smoke on them and calm them down and focus, I know that there's a lot more that would open up to me and that God would allow me to have. But I get in my own way. I trip my own self, which is a lot of us. A lot of us, our ego, our ego, and we get in our own way. We stand in our own way of being a powerful spiritual force, just having a human experience. That's what we are. We're a spiritual entity, spiritual beings, part of God, having a human experience. That's all it is, We're not human. We're just having the human experience. But you are human. But you ain't human. It's weird. It's weird how it works. Weird how everything's connected. But yeah, and Stephen Greer, different star cultures, like how do you say it, Pleiadians. There was one of them that I was watching where he said there was one entity that visited them in a group session. It wasn't just one person or two people seeing this. It was a group of people that seen this. And it's on video. You can look these up and watch these videos. And but that entity was from Andromeda. It came from Andromeda. And that's the whole reason that I have been studying the stars. Because I have one that I call Blinky. I've nicknamed Blinky. And the first time I seen him, that's all he did was blink. It blinked one time and then went away. And then I have seen it several different times in the same area. Sometimes it'll blink 2 or 3 times real quick. It's not a satellite, it's not a plane. I can't necessarily say it's a star because I've never seen a star do that, and it don't stay on and get brighter or dull. It blinks. And I haven't been able to, if I probably meditated, I could probably find out what it is. But I haven't done that yet because I'm always getting in my own way of things. But yeah, the CE5 contact, I want to go meet Dr. Stephen Greer, and because he does a CE5 retreat where anybody can go. Anybody can go. I don't know if it costs anything. I don't know how much it costs, but people come from all walks of life, from physicists to regular old people, working at Pizza Hut. Everybody's welcome, and everybody comes there, and they do these group sessions, CE5 contacts, and it's like mushroom trip. I was curious and wanting to know, what should I expect? You don't expect anything because everybody's experience could be completely different. You don't go expecting to have something, because if you do, then and you don't have what you expect, then you feel let down. You feel that negativity. You can't have that. You got to go expecting the unexpected. You have no idea what to expect. And that's what a lot of this is. I have no idea what to expect until it comes to me. It's pretty cool. But I'm going to look him up because I need to figure it out. I need to meditate more. There's a lot that I know that I need to do more of. Including I need to that's for another time. But yeah, I'm gonna shut this live down now because it's going on for a little over an hour, and I got to focus. And give me a topic. Leave in the comments a topic for the next video or something that you want. You can just take 3 deep breaths while focusing on God. And see, I've done that, done similar to that, but and it does help. But there's sometimes that it's the whole reason that I haven't really tried to astral project yet, is because a part of me says that everything is going to be fine. And then there's that little voice that says there is possibilities of different things could happen if my mind is not right. If my mind is not right. So that's the main thing that I need to get under control first and focus on, is putting out positivity. And sometimes just with everything that's going on in my life, sometimes it's hard just to stay positive, because I see my family. It's not even about everybody that's complete strangers. It's about my family and how much they're suffering, and that I want to take it away, but I can't. I can't. And I want to say money would solve everything. Money, it wouldn't. I know it wouldn't. Yeah, it might help, but it wouldn't take away their problems, because they're something that they have to deal with. But I hate that they're going through it, and I can help them if they would listen, but nobody. I understand why Jesus left, because the people in your own hometown ain't, that know your backstory, know who you are, they don't believe you. That's the same problem that I have been having, is that all these people, they know who I am, they know my history, and they view me as, yeah, right, you was high, bro, you're a drug addict. They're, okay, you're delusional. Nobody's actually said that to me, but I know that's how you're viewing me, and I'm okay with that, but I wish you would just listen. Just listen to me. Whether you take it or not, try it. I won't tell you anything that'll hurt you. I'm just trying to help you. I'm trying to help, but in their own time. I know, and that's something. Simple, longer is definitely better. Start small, do a routine, helps you get disciplined. Islam has the 5 daily prayers, which I believe is all about helping structure your day. Yeah, that's the whole reason I got the Quran, I think, and it even talks about that in there because I've looked into Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism. I think that's how it's said. Christianity. I've looked into every religion. And I have gotten heat for this because everybody is all about individuality. I go by he, I go by she, I identify as a cat, I identify as a bookworm. Everybody wants that individuality, which I can understand that. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that because I don't believe that. But I also believe that, look, you're only viewing straight ahead. You're not looking around you and seeing that you are much more than what you think you are. But it's probably going to take you dying and leaving your freaking body before you realize it. And I don't want that to happen because I believe that I'm trying to help people realize that I believe there is a way that you can stay in this body and save this body and help this body and help yourself and evolve in this body. I really believe that. Now, I have to sit there and write it all down step by step by step, but I believe there is a step process. I actually had my first step. I know what I needed to do, and I didn't follow it. But the first step is a life review alive. You have to do a life review alive. And you know exactly what a life review is when you have a near-death experience. But my life review was you have to do the life review alive. Realize all your faults, your errors, your trauma, your drama, and make peace with things. And while you're alive, all the people that you've done wrong, come to face with them and genuinely tell them that you are sorry. Even if they don't forgive you right then, that it's okay. You did what you were supposed to and apologized for it. But you have to be physical. It has to be face to face. Yeah, you are physical and spiritual connected. I mean, physical and spiritual. You are one. You're not separate. You are one. But a lot of people, they rather view it as I'm only physical. They can't. They refuse to believe that you can be, or spiritual people. They believe they're only spiritual, but it's hard for some people to view them as one, as connected. You're spiritual, physically experiencing. That's the whole thing. You are spiritual and physical, even spiritual. Even if you come out of the body, that spiritual is still solid, in a sense. Everything is connected, but it's the quantum of it, the quantum, when I talk about quantum physics and the quantum realm of it, it can be here and it can be there at the same time. It can be everywhere at the same time. So in the sense, it can be solid, it can be fluid, it can be visible, it can be invisible. Everything is connected. Earth is hard. Staying grounded while flying seems contradictory. Well, it can be. it can be, and that's a lot of stuff that I've studied seems like it contradicts with each other. But it can be hard, but I believe through God nothing is impossible. So even if you're grounded, who's to say that when you fly, the ground ain't flying with you? Yeah, well, I'm just saying. My mind works weird. My mind works weird. But I gotta shut this live down. Please leave in the comments a topic for next video, or if not, maybe something will come to me. The whole reason I was going to start this video earlier is because I did have a lot to say earlier, but something happened between then and now that I lost what my main topic was about. I know I was going to talk about CE5 contact and Dr. Stephen Greer and the disclosure project and stuff like that, but I was going to say more, and it has eluded me. Praying helps, but that's something I don't do enough of, is pray. And I need to pray more. No problem. You don't have to thank me. Please, I tell everybody that, because I have a lot of people that thank me. Thank you for that, but please don't thank me, because I know my name. I know what my name is supposed to be, because I am not supposed to take any credit. The credit is not mine. I don't take any of the credit myself. I give everything to God, because that's what everything boils down to. I give everything to God. So it's in a way, it's God's work. It's not my work. It's God's. So yeah, I'm trying. I have my good days and my bad days, you know. But thank you. I love you, and God bless you. And like I say, please share the video. The more people that watch them, the more maybe it gives somebody an idea and a path to grow. Even if they don't resonate with nothing, something might resonate and click in them, and you know, maybe help. And everything helps me in the long run. Everything will eventually help me, but I'm grateful for everything, but it's not, I'm not thankful for me. You know what I mean? I am, but I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for God allowing me to be here and do this and speak this. That's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful to breathe and walk and speak, see and hear. That's what I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for God allowing me to have this amazing experience and bring it here with me. As hard as life is sometimes, I am grateful for every second of it. And but thank you. Yeah, I'm trying. I get in my way sometimes. We want to kick my own butt, but it's all right. I love you. God bless you. And till next time.